All right, starting a little bit late tonight. Apologies for that, but trying to get everything organized as much as possible just to make certain that we are everything is correct and working properly. It is Wednesday evening. We did not do a weather overtime last night because of the fact that we had just a lot going on, to say the least. We've got less in the way of problems for right now, but we do have, again, the potential for more rain and, again, the possibility of looking at, it doesn't look like severe weather, but it does look like we could be looking at the potential problems out there for anything involving flash flooding sticking around for the next day or two. So that, again, could be a bit of a situation there for the next day. So definitely want to make sure that you're paying attention to that for the next few days there. All right, again, I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. This is Weather Overtime, coming to you live at least on Wednesday evening from the downtown Chattanooga area. If you had been watching from last night, you may have seen a little bit more about everything that was going on, which again was some very tragic situations to where an entire family was killed by a falling tree in Chattanooga. And then we had the floods last night. This was a shot from I-24 into and around the area of between downtown, the Missionary Ridge, and over toward the 2475 junction. This was what it looked like as, again, afternoon turned into evening, and we had, again, numerous strandings and water rescues taking place. And again, this was one of the more tragic situations that we've seen, because last night, and this was absolutely totally preventable. This is where we had the possibility of people surviving in here. This was a very sad situation in that people actively avoided the barriers around where the police and the fire department of Chattanooga were trying to make certain that everybody was staying where they needed to be. And these people, one person decided to completely and totally zip around the barriers, went straight into a creek area, and again did a very good job of drowning. So unfortunately, this was, again, one of the saddest things we've seen in and around the area. But from CBS News, taking a look at some of what happened last night, as the sun set, again, just completely impassable. Interstate 24, this whole area has been under construction for the last several months, still awaiting word as to what exactly went on from there, but it's just absolutely tragic to see somebody actively avoiding the barriers designed to keep them safe. And that right there is just one of the more tragic situations that I've seen out there for quite some time. Now, as of right now, things are decently quiet. We don't have a lot going on. The view from the zoo, again, looking at Holtzclaw Avenue, and traffic on I-24 on Missionary Ridge, very light, everything a lot less chaotic than what it was just about 24 hours ago with that huge amount of rainfall taking place. We picked up over half a foot of rainfall yesterday. That it was the second worst amount of rainfall that we have seen in quite some time, in several years, in fact. The last time around, let me get this from the National Weather Service here real quick, if I can find it, so everybody can see what is going on. We'll talk about the tropics coming up in just a little bit and a whole bunch of other information, so stay tuned for that. I want to make certain everybody's up to date on, again, what is going on. But for tonight, again, the worst potential for rainfall is technically over with, but we may see the potential of more rainfall tonight and into tomorrow. And then there's the tropics, which we really need to talk about here coming up in just a little bit. But the view from last night with the rainfall coming down, this was just absolutely incredible to take a look at, because from the National Weather Service in Chattanooga, or in Morristown, we picked up 6.42 inches of rain on Tuesday. This is the second wettest one-day total in the city's period. That goes all the way back to when records first started being kept in 1879. The total record is back in September of 2011, and that record is almost 10 inches of rain in one day from Tropical Storm Lee's remnants in September of 2011. So just absolutely incredible. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was 1 in 1,000 years worth of rainfall for that period of time. Now, speaking of rain, at this point, we have not much going on so far. Again, things are very quiet. We do have some more thunderstorms taking place back to our south, southwest, and west. Most of those are diminishing, but there is still the potential of more showers and thunderstorms into the rest of the evening. Now, locally, again, most of what we've been seeing is pretty much over with, although we do still have some showers around Monroe County, Tennessee in the News 12 viewing area, northern Cherokee County, North Carolina, and Murray, Gordon, Gilmer, and Fannin counties in northwest and north central Georgia, Chattanooga, and the News 12 viewing area here in the middle part of your screen. Some thunderstorms over again portions of the area close to northeast Georgia and south central North Carolina, and more rainfall down into and around the area of Atlanta, but not much of anything else redeveloping, but that is going to be a possible problem out there. Now, from the National Weather Service earlier tonight, the flood warning remains in effect until Thursday for South Hamilton and northwestern Catoosa counties, Tennessee and Georgia, respectively. This was the view from the United States Geological Stream Flow Gauge on South Chickamauga Creek that runs across the Tennessee-Georgia line. And again, earlier on last night, at about, give or take, right after midnight, the stream height peaked at 18 feet. And in and around this area, East Ridge, East Brainerd, North Georgia, around northern Catoosa counties, back to the east, around and to the east of I-75. This is where some of the worst flooding was taking place. But as of earlier this evening, the stream flow data clearly shows the rainfall amount dropping. So we're not looking at anything in the way of active amounts of flooding right now. But this warning is here again for any extra rainfall that comes through, because it's not going to take much for the rain to fall on already saturated ground and for that water to just run off of that saturated ground. If the ground were dry, then it would be easy enough for the ground to absorb that moisture. But if the ground is totally soaked, all that water can do is just run off very quickly and collect in the lower lying areas, including right back, where'd my cursor go? Right back here around I-24 and just to the west of the 75 junction. Now, everything for right now is looking a lot better than what it was. That's for certain. This is a dual camera from TDOT showing again the area last night that was in the westbound lanes completely waterlogged, and traffic stopped and being routed off the interstate. Meanwhile, 3 lanes at least, almost 4, were covered by this water, and in the eastbound lanes you had to drive in that section of the roadway and over toward the area of the median. Now tonight everything is just fine. Looking around the area to where, again, right now the camera's pointed back to the east. This is the 2475 junction. Earlier last night it was pointing back toward this junction, and it was showing again the very heavy rainfall, the stopped traffic, and the people who were working their way through the construction zone storage area to be able to get out of the way. Tonight everything is flowing along fine, no question about that, but it was a chaotic and unfortunately a deadly evening here. So it, again, when we say turn around, don't drown, we really mean it. The National Weather Service means it. A lot of people get critical of NOAA for being money wasters or talking too much about climate change, especially if you belong to a certain project. Nothing could be further from the truth. NOAA is designed as part of our government to keep American citizens or whomever's in the country safer from severe weather. That, again, is one of the best things. Are you going to be recording soon? Or?
Yeah, they're doing a little interview thing.
Okay, what time are you doing that?
We were wanting to do it as
Okay. I'll wrap up here in a little bit. So, okay, cool. Thanks. Sharing studio space here. Unfortunately, my weather office down the hallway doesn't have this setup here. So we'll go ahead and kick into the forecast to show you what we have going on, which, again, for right now is not much, but it does show, again, a decent amount of problems where we come to the potential of rainfall out there. And we're going to see, again, more potential of rain through the next couple of days, off and on, but that will be diminishing. And what does that mean for us? It means warmer temperatures coming up. Notice again the 7-day forecast in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. You can get that at our website, wdef.com/weather, if you'd like to find out more there. Now, for tonight, the flash flooding risk has been reduced to a marginal threat. It was at slight. That's a 2 out of 4. Now it's a 1 out of 4. And then as we go into tomorrow, the threat continues at a marginal 1 out of 4 potential for flash flooding. As we get into the Friday and the weekend, the threat diminishes down to the southeast, and then we start to see the heat really start to increase as we go into the next few days. Not record-breaking, not seeing triple digits, but it is going to be hot and humid into next week, and unfortunately, not great for outdoor activities. The good news at this time, we have little taking place in the way of heat advisories yet. Hopefully, again, that will not stay that way. We'll keep you updated on that in the course of the next couple of days. So for the 7-day forecast, few clouds out there, some sky shine back to the west from those lights of Chattanooga and southern Hamilton County reflecting off those clouds. We're seeing, again, temperatures heading upwards into the next few days from the high 80s tomorrow if we get enough sunshine through the lower to mid 90s next week, and reducing the chances of showers and thunderstorms, but at least at this time, again, it'll be less. It may not be zero, but outdoor activity is going to have to kind of pay attention to that. All right, quick check of the tropics. Want to make certain everybody's aware of this. First of all, we have a system sitting down in the southern Gulf right along the Bay of Campeche, and again, right over the Yucatan Peninsula. It doesn't look like much, but there is a fairly strong swirl of energy taking place here, and once it moves out over the Bay of Campeche, the southern Gulf, that is where we may see, again, a resurgence of this. Now, the National Hurricane Center is not giving this system quite a lot of confidence. Okay, it's increased now to 20% instead of 10%. So again, if you're heading toward Brownsville, Corpus Christi, that could be a bit of a problem there. Going into the Atlantic, again, we're going way out into the Atlantic to where Tropical Storm Erin is still a tropical storm. It's expected to be within about 48 hours a Category 1 hurricane, and then less dust and more heat from the ocean's climate change, ocean temperature surface. That's where the energy is going to come from to drive this into a major Category 3 storm. And now it looks like, again, there's signs that this system is going to be kind of heading back to the east over the cooler waters. So what happens to this past about 1 week from today? That, again, is why we have the widening cone of uncertainty, to give us an idea that as of right now, that is where we are seeing the storm for the next few days. But after that, it gets too uncertain. Either way, if you're going to be heading to the East Coast, Florida, the Bahamas, the Caribbean, or the Gulf Coast, I would watch this very carefully because, again, major Category 3 hurricane. That's strong, that's deadly, and you don't want to be going to someplace you're just going to have to head right back out of. So please keep that in mind, and we'll keep you advised on that for the course of the next couple of days. All right, one little bit of extracurricular activity. Thanks to Linda Parks from Decatur for our Clay Kistner paving and seal coating. Picture of a roseate spoonbill bird, which is apparently fairly rare to Ray County, Tennessee. If you've got pictures, we'd love to see what you are seeing. So go ahead and please send them in to us, and we'll feature them on the air when we get them, going in order as much as we can. Thanks to everybody for sending them in, and again, give us your best shots, and we'll be glad to show them coming up here as soon as we possibly can. All right, I'm going to have to curtail things here by a little bit because we've got some recording going on in the studio, so we've got to get the studio back here for a little bit. We'll have more tonight on News 12 at 11. Chip Chapman is back with his forecast on the morning show on Thursday. Thanks very much to News 12 weather anchor, brand new here to News 12, Russell Stroud, for filling in quite well over the last few days. Did an excellent job according to what I've heard. He'll be back on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, so stay tuned for more there. And of course, you can contact me at my email address and anybody else at News 12 at our website, WDEF.com, and stop by for more there. Live and direct Wednesday night, I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek from downtown Chattanooga at the WDEF News 12 studios. Thanks for joining us, and stay tuned for more with News 12 on air and online.